Over the last couple months, I've invested more money in football cards than the cost of a brand new car.
Hell no, to the no, 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 yeah, to the no.
Now, to be fair, the new car would have to be a 2020 Chevy Spark, which has a starting price of just over $13,200. But considering where I came from just a couple months ago, where I was hesitant to drop more than $100 on a card, this is a huge leap for me. But as many of you guys already know, my main goal for 2021 was to generate full-time income solely from sports card related activities like investing in cards and content creation. So I knew that I had to invest a lot more money into cards this year in order for me to achieve that goal. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you all $14,147 worth of football card investments for the upcoming year, as well as the prices I paid for each card and the rationale behind each one. Now, as a disclaimer, remember that every investment that I make is highly dependent on the price I pay, and that I'm more than happy to just buy the card and relist it on eBay for a 50% to 100% return. And so whenever it sells, but I mention this because I don't want you to go out there and buy the cards that I bought 2 months ago thinking that it's a good investment. I want to share with you what I'm doing and the rationale behind it, but at the end of the day, it's really up to you to do the research, find a window where you feel the cards are at a good price and you feel confident that it'll go up based on your own thought process. Okay? That's my disclaimer. Now catchphrase time. Welcome back. Now let's get to work. All right, I'm trying to hide these guys from you because I want to just show you one at a time and make this simple on me. And the first guy I've been buying is Christian McCaffrey. We all know he had a very disastrous 2020 year. He had injuries. The Panthers suck. Teddy Bridgewater is his quarterback. Everything's looking bad. But that means that his prices softened so much that I felt good about getting one of his 9s, PSA 10, and a 9.5. I would have much rather have just gotten 9s and 10s. But what happens is that I watch these auctions, and sometimes it's just like a Tuesday afternoon, there'll be a BGS 9.5 ending, and it'll end at a pretty good price. And so I'll snag it instead of on Sunday night, a PSA 10 is ending and it goes for a very high price. So I just keep these 3 grades in my mind. I'd rather have 9s and 10s of PSA, but I'm good with that. I expect McCaffrey to be back. I know the fantasy football websites all have Christian McCaffrey still on top of their list for number 1 overall picks, or at least top couple picks for next year. So very optimistic that he will return from injury. And then you never know. Panthers might actually get Deshaun Watson. Probably not, but you just never know. Next up, Dak Prescott. And I thought, here's the other one right here. Didn't pick it up. Just like McCaffrey, very disastrous year. He broke his ankle, I believe. Maybe it was his leg, but I picked up a couple of his silver Prism rookie cards, one in a 9.5, one in a 10, one in a 9. And again, it was just a matter of the auction looked low, and so I went in on it. But again, you root for a guy like Dak Prescott, even if you're not a Cowboys fan, just because when you see him get injured the way he did and get carted off the field, even if you're a Giants fan, even if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you should be rooting for this guy to at least come back and have a great rebound year. Even if you want him to lose to your team, I think that's normal. And both McCaffrey and Dak's prices have gone up a lot, but I'm glad I got him when I did. Next up is the number 1 wide receiver entering last year, who had another disappointing season, and that is Michael Thomas. He was like such a beast before last season, and then this year he had injuries and just never got in a rhythm. So I expect him to be back. But the good thing about Michael Thomas, McCaffrey, and Dak Prescott is that they are 2016 and 2017 rookies, which means that the vast majority of their cards have already been through PSA or BGS. So the pop reports shouldn't grow much, and they are a lot lower. They should be a lot lower than 2019 and 2020 rookies. But I got some 9s here. 3 9s, and then what's that, 4 10s, something like that, 4 10s. So I'm really optimistic about him, Michael Thomas's year coming up, but also the fact that these prices were so low. I got some of these 9s for $55 and $60 last season, and I think I got 2 of these when the Saints were actually in the playoffs, because I thought that best case scenario, the Saints would do really well with Michael Thomas and they'd make it to the Super Bowl and his prices would go through the roof. But fortunately, the Bucs won, and now they're just good off-season purchases. But these cards have gone up in price a lot too, so it's not like people are sleeping on Michael Thomas nearly as much now as they were a couple months ago. Next one is going to be a bit surprising, and that's because this whole stack here is Gardner Minshew. And look, these were really cheap cards. I think I got this SGC 10 for $25 or so. I mean, like, that's pretty much nothing. Then a lot of these here were about $40 to $45. I'm not going to spend more than about $50 for these cards. But the thing is, Gardner had a big rookie season, and then he had COVID. I think he got injured. And the worst thing of all is he plays for Jacksonville, which pretty much means that anyone's career is going to go spiraling downward because you play for the Jaguars. So if the Jags select Trevor Lawrence #1 overall, then Gardner Minshew is a very high quality backup. And it's not like Trevor Lawrence is guaranteed to be hot from the get-go. That's not always how it works. But also, I believe there are trade rumors that are around Gardner Minshew being traded to another team and perhaps competing for a starting quarterback spot. So for $45 to $50 each, I feel like that is as low as it's going to get for a quarterback that still has a lot in the tank, that is proven to be a decent starter, but just had a rough year. Now, speaking of under the radar, I don't know if anyone is more under the radar than this guy, and that is Jacobi Brissett, one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. And the reason I got a couple of his cards is because I looked up best backup quarterbacks in NFL and saw that Jameis Winston was #1 and Jacobi Brissett was pretty much #2, or at least like top 3 or 4. And because he's a 2016 rookie, because his cards are low pop, and because I got these originally for $65 each for someone that is now playing on Miami, backing up Tua Tagovailoa, the fact that he is backing him up, and Tua got benched last season. So I'm not saying Tua is going to be the savior for Miami. There's a decent chance that Jacobi Brissett will actually replace him at some point during the year, either due to poor performance or due to injury. So I got 2 of his PSA 10 cards here. And what's interesting is that this one actually got cracked. When I opened it up, it was cracked pretty bad. So I messaged the seller saying, hey, I got this one that came cracked. Do you have a replacement? Because I can't resell this in the same condition. This is gonna knock off the price. So we settled on him refunding me the reslab price, which is about $15, but I probably won't have the time to reslab it because the next season would probably start way before I get this card back. So $50 for one, $65 for the other. Fine with those prices. Definitely like a buy low opportunity right here. Who should I go with next? I think I know who that is. I want to do that last. Let's go here. Short stack. Who's this? Okay. So very under the radar, Josh Jacobs.
Real quick, and this is important, I bought these cards before Oakland dismantled their offensive line and signed Kenyon Drake.
I got one of his PSA 10s and one of his select field levels in a PSA 10. And that's because I was looking up running backs who are expected to do well next year. A lot of the fantasy football websites had Josh Jacobs listed quite high. And then also the Raiders have a solid offensive line.
Not anymore.
So I thought, hey, you know what, Raiders playing in Las Vegas, new stadium, hype, blah, 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 blah. Maybe he has a great year. But honestly, I bought several of his raw cards on ComC, and I'm good with those. I'm just not very big on buying a running back PSA 10 for more than $70 or $80. So I think I got this for about $80. And that's really the most I'll spend because there's going to be a lot of these cards coming back from PSA, and a running back is just pretty risky. But one thing that is cool about this select field level is that this was a buy it now for I think $100 or $120, and I offered $75. But the guy I noticed, the seller was located in Tampa, so I actually messaged on there with my offer, hey, I'm from Tampa as well, go Bucks, what a year, something along those lines, and he accepted my offer. And I'll never know if it's because I mentioned something about being from Tampa as well, and he wanted to help out a fellow Tampon. But always helps to just be personable in those offer messages. Next up, let's go with, who's this? Okay, let's go with Kyler Murray, and very optimistic about the Cardinals this year. Kyler obviously just got J.J. Watt on defense, but also J.J. Watt said that he came to Arizona because he believed so much in Kyler Murray. So I was looking at Kyler's prices, knowing that next season should be quite good for the Cardinals, and I bought these for like $380 to $400 a piece, which I thought was kind of high. And then the prices have gone up to about $560 to even $590. So that's like a 45% increase, something like that, 45 or 50% increase in just a couple months, which makes me glad I bought when I did. But the one thing, just like the Minshew and the Josh Jacobs, is that this pop report is growing very quickly. So, I don't want to get in that habit of buying rookies right away, thinking that the supply is limited, when in actuality, the supply is just going to be unveiled month after month for the next year. So I'm okay with not buying any more Kyler Murrays for now and seeing if there's another opportunity in summer to buy up more of his cards. And then I actually got one of his SGC 10s and a BGS 9.5 because I think these were like $140 or so each. And I thought that was just so low for a 9.5, which is right under the 10 quality, but still, this could be a PSA 10 card. An SGC 10, I don't know if this would be a PSA 9 or a PSA 10, but regardless, 140 or so each, I thought that was a very good price. Moving on, and let's go with this stack right here. This is Russell Wilson PSA 10 Prism rookie cards, and I got a lot of them. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 6. And I love this card for a few reasons. But for one, Russell Wilson was my biggest regret last off season because I saw Mahomes' prices go through the roof. I saw Lamar Jackson's prices go through the roof. And yet Russell Wilson was just sitting there. His cards were like flat. And yet he has won a Super Bowl. He has a great team. He's beloved in the community. He has a famous wife. Everything is pointing in the right direction for Russell Wilson, but he isn't new. He isn't flashy. And so I regretted not going in big on him last season. He's not the sexiest buy because he is a 2012 rookie, but there are only a couple hundred of these Prism rookie cards. And that's what really drew my eye to it, is that I got like 5 of these, I think for $850 to $900 each, something like that, about $900 each. And then the last one I splurged on and paid about $1,300. But if you look at where these prices were when Russell Wilson went on his tear during the year, these things spiked, I think, up to about $3,000 or maybe more. So a low pop card of a future Hall of Famer, of a guy that has several years left, to buy at a time when it's off season or it's low, I feel very confident about these cards right here. And that takes me to my very last investments. Several cards here, a lot of them, of one quarterback that I just mentioned, but I'll mention again, and that is Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson, what a beautiful card that is. He had an MVP year not last year, but 2 years ago, had an up and down year this year. But what I really like about Lamar Jackson is the fact that he needs more weapons on offense. And I think the Ravens are going to get him those weapons in the draft or in free agency, because he does not have a great wide receiver. He could use another tight end. He could use some linemen. And if I go on these websites that show what the biggest draft needs are for teams, they're all on offense for the Ravens. So if he gets some of those pieces in the draft and in free agency, he should have a much better year. But if not, at least the hype should be there leading up to next season. So if you take a look here, Optic Hollow 10, Optic Hollow 10, Optic Hollow 10, Optic Hollow 10, Optic Hollow 9, and then I got some of his select cards. And the reason I got these is because Pop Report was super low on these Optic Hollows, very, very low. The pop report was very low on these selects as well, though I'm sure these will go up. And I think I paid 150 to 180 for these select 10s, and they're already up to about 290 bucks. So they're almost 2x, or like at least 50% to 80% return right now. And then I got this one right here. This is probably my favorite. Select, what's this level? Premier level silver. Beautiful cards. But what I like is, again, could be a good time to sell around the draft if they really make a big move and get a great wide receiver or weapon, or it could just be a good hold for the beginning of next season and perhaps throughout next season. Okay, but wait, there's more. I also have this right here, and this is a surprise. I've not opened this yet, obviously. What could we have here? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Here it is. Prism, no huddle, 2020 football. Joe Burrow. Here's that. Kyler Murray. Tua. Tagovailoa. And guess what? This is not for me. This is actually for y'all, and this is going to be a giveaway for 15,000 subscribers, which we're headed towards in the next couple of weeks or months. And this is going to be a reward for you guys. This is coming from a sponsor that I'll reveal shortly. But just want to get you guys pumped because there will be, I think, 18 winners. How many packs are in here? 5 cards, 18 packs, 18 winners. Hopefully you guys will get some amazing rookie cards, amazing rare inserts, and we'll go from there. But I want to thank you guys for all the support. This box right here is going back to y'all.